Okay, so we are back. Imagine that, Mick. Our computer died again. A couple things I guess we can talk about with that. First, it's not the first time Hoover, so don't, we may lose it again, and that's completely all right. And I've had this computer for about 7 years, and the batteries never worked. And 2 out of the last 3 weeks, I forgot to plug it in when we started this. So, Mick, I mean, we got to do a better IT meeting before we start these things.
Yeah, the prep work is extensive, but it's not. We don't do much with kind of prepping for the technology challenges that we might encounter during the course of the show, and then that's where we get bit a lot of the times, weeds. But it's not going to happen again.
Well, okay, it's not going to happen again. And, the prep work you talk about, usually we do this at 5:30 or 6, and it's 7:30. You think that I would have got here early and got it all set up and done that. But, no, I roll in, thinking I've got this down. I'm good with this.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wasn't. So
you could have just fudged it right there. You could have said, well, yeah, we had a computer problem, and not going into the nuts and bolts of exactly what happened.
Yeah. We do have a computer problem. It's the computer. One of the problems is not complaining. It's just, about a 20-year-old computer trying to do work of keeping up with this type of stuff. I mean, we're live and on the air, man, and we're trying to do. How good are we that we can pull this off?
Yes, and an old computer. We're so dynamic in comparison to how people were 20 years ago. Not going to work every time.
So, anyway, Coach Hoover, you were talking about the state championship. You beat Harrisburg, and then
9-6.
9-6. Then you started off.
Yeah.
Oh, and you lost the second one 6-2. So now you got one game.
Right.
One for everything. So what was the game plan? Did you change it up at all, or just kind of go with what had been working all year?
It was about the same game plan. Put in a couple different hitters in the lineup, or one hitter in the lineup, and which doesn't happen very often. We switched to our freshman catcher, Avery Dorman, and Ashton Dorman, her senior sister, was hitting for him. So we changed another person in the lineup, and that's about all we did as far as what we were throwing. We changed that a little bit, but the same plan to stay away from their big hitters as much as possible was still the game plan. And when we started, we didn't score the first inning. So we get to the bottom of the first. I think maybe it was the second, third pitch of the at-bat to their leadoff hitter, and they got a single. Emily Boyer was their second batter, and we weren't going to try to change the plan. We worked around her, kind of an intentional walk. So you start out first and second, no outs in the final championship game. It's not a good start. And what wasn't in the plan was walking the next batter to hold the bases. So we hold the bases, no outs. Not quite what we expected. Although the next hitter grounded out to our second baseman, Peyton Seafelt, Jeremy's daughter. She made a great play, forced the force out at home, got one out. Next batter up, I believe we struck her out. So we had 2 outs, bases loaded, and I was thinking, we're going to get out of this. Well, their next hitter ended up hitting a grand slam. So we started the final game down 4-0. Eventually we chipped away 5-1, 5-2, got to 5-3, bottom of the 6th. They get a sacrifice fly, close play to plate, and they get 6-3. And that's when the kind of fireworks started for us. And we get to the top of the 7th, and my feeling was somebody asked me if I didn't think he had a chance being down 6-3 against that type of pitcher. Top of the 7th inning. And I told him I didn't care how many outs there were, as long as we could get the tying run to the plate. During the season, we play with the regular fences out of Sherman Park, which are maybe 225 down the line, 240 at center field. But for the state tournament, they put the temporary fences in. So with that in play, a routine fly ball, if the wind's blowing out, can end up as a home run. So I was thinking if we could get the time run to the plate. Our leadoff hitter got a hit. Our next Kira Knudsen, Kira Lubavitch hits a double. And so we're second and third, no outs, and I was like, perfect, this is where we're at. And before the top of the 7th started, we gave as coaches, we gave our 2 cents, and all I said was, hey, quality of bats. And that's what we stressed the whole year. Discipline, patience, quality of bats. Don't chase. And I said, hey, let's go steal it. And the seniors, after I left the huddle, the seniors took over. And they had a feeling they had a chance throughout the whole game, being down even after the 40-0 lead. And leadoff hitter, like I said, got a hit, double. Next person up, Ashton Dorman hits a double. I think we ended up hitting 4 doubles that inning. And we get to the point, 6-4, 6-5, tied up in another double, 6-6. We get second and third, and they intentionally walked our leadoff hitter, and Caitlin Drews, I think it was the second pitch, hit the perfect pitch over the second baseman's head, hit it to the fence, the fastest runner on first base, and scored 3. The funny thing with this Caitlin Drews is that as a freshman, she was not hit anything on the outside corner and was just pulling everything. And ever since, we kept on her. Sophomore, junior, she got better and better and better. Senior year, she just made herself a better hitter, complete coverage of the plate. And it couldn't have ended better for her, just where she came from, where she was, got the outside pitch, and won the tournament.
That's amazing. And, you mentioned your seniors. Obviously, if you won it in 2019, those seniors had to have a pretty good career.
Right.
As far as the team, obviously individually, but as far as the team, they had to be quite a few wins.
Right. The 4 seniors finished their career with a 95 and 13. And they put the work in, which is fun to see. They were dedicated, their work ethic. They came to practice and made sure no one else was. It's just set a good example. You don't have to be someone that chews out players or teammates or gets on to work harder or anything like that. Just lead by example, and that's what these 4 seniors did.
Mick, as you're listening, we talk a lot about baseball. You're listening to, softball, and you know softball pretty well. Anything that sticks out as you're listening to Coach Hoover talk here?
Just that a lot of those games, especially, and he alluded to this, when there's one good pitcher or 2 good pitchers, the margin for error is, and the players know that going into it, and that one error. And a lot of times the other team will kind of play, like just go bunt and stuff. And, okay, it's getting to that nervous part of the game, and we're gonna make you feel catch and throw the ball, and that's just part of that game as I've seen it anyway. But to be able to succeed in that condition and to go down 4-0, and I think, oh my goodness, and it wasn't anything like that. It looked like, as Tim, as you talk about it here, it's just like, we'll figure this out.
Yeah, it was, pitching around Emily, there was one time we did, she hit it further than I think anyone I've ever seen at that age, over center field. And it wasn't like their third and fourth and fifth, sixth hitters weren't capable. It was just a risk you had to take. There was Garry Young, this commissioner of South Coast, he made a comment that at one point he'd rather play Harrisburg because your guys' hitters are too disciplined and patient at the plate, it's hard to get all those guys out. And one thing that I kind of looked at the scoreboard after one of our wins, and I jotted down a couple stats here. In the 20 innings that Harrisburg, the 3 games that we played, in their 20 innings, they scored 13 of their 18 runs in 3 innings. So when their timely hitting was a lot of stuff that went into the and a couple meetings at the mound talking to Madison Evans. So really,
So was Madison your go-to pitcher?
Yeah, we were her the whole way. Sophomore pitcher. And she threw really well. And there's a couple innings, they might have hit in 1 inning. And just come up to the mound, and she just looked distraught and was like, where do we throw it? And I was just like, hey, it's early. Just hold on. We got hitters struggling. We'll be all right. And so the kind of the different way we attacked it is in the 2 wins that we had against Harrisburg, 13 innings, we scored at least 1 run in 10 of those 13 innings, which means you all had other people on base at the same time too. So we got kind of a relentless attack where throughout the line of pitchers isn't your top 5, 6 hitters. We had some damage throughout the whole line. And a couple of them, Emily had their number, but it was like, hey, you're fine. Just make it count the next at bat. We're all right. You got other people backing you up. And see what happens.
What's it like with, anytime you win a state title, it's going to be cool. But those spectacular circumstances where all the things we talk about every week are all kind of encapsulated in that championship contest, competition. What was that like for you? What was that like for the kids?
Well, I think the big thing about this league, being in it for whatever, 10, 11 years, is that the quality of the talent players are getting better and better each fall season, and they're getting stronger. Balls are being hit further. Pitching is better, and every team has some talent. Just some have a little more than others. Maybe a little bit better pitcher. But I made a comment to Kevin Warren, who was coaching third base in the last game. And Harrisburg against us, and nothing gets me more excited than seeing quality plays at this young age. And Harrisburg turned a 5-4-3 double play without any hesitation, bang bang play at first, and I was like, oh, I'm not happy that was against us, but that is fun to watch. And not long after, all of a sudden we turned a 6-4-3 close play at first, and it was just like I told Kevin, I don't care, we're just playing. I don't care if it's against me, for me. That's what you coach for. That's what you're out here to see how much better these girls are getting. And those type of plays without any bobbles. I think we played 5 state tournament games. We had 2 errors at that age. That's crazy. So that's what, just seeing the quality, whether it's your team or who you're playing. Those 3 games against Harrisburg were top high school quality games. And that's what's fun. You win or lose. Winning and losing isn't the number of wins and losses of success. It's seeing what they can do on particular plays that you've been working on. We hit a bunch of grounders, working on that double play thing, just to get that force out. And if you can get 2, that's just icing on the cake. But they definitely put the time in, and that's the reward for them. They get excited about it, and that's a reward for me and our coaches. The time you put in and results.
Obviously, when you guys play your game, you're not playing on campus. I don't think anybody plays on their, in the city. Do they all play at Sherman?
Right. Right. Sherman's the home field. Jefferson, Roosevelt, Washington, Gorman, and us. And then the out-of-town teams have their. Nobody really has a field at their campus. Mitchell, I believe, uses DWU's field.
So you mentioned, you know, a booster club is, you know, with it being off campus, talk about you get some crowds there, and how about the state tournament? You have some people there show up for you.
Right, first time I've ever seen it. I've been out there in 2011, tried in 2010. Well, you know, you get the parents out there, you get the grandparents out there, you get some parents coming out there, maybe your JV team's out there supporting the varsity team for the state tournament. So this is something I've never seen from any of the schools, any of the high schools for softball. You know, like you said, when it's on campus, you had some, I think they call them the Lincoln Crazies. But we actually had a student group in the bleachers that actually was awesome to see, and I've never seen it before. And they gave a lot of support, and the players really appreciated it, and it was fun to see because I've never seen it like that before, the support that the Lincoln Crazies gave to these girls. It was something I've never seen.
That's cool. That's great for those kids. Playing in front of their peers, you know, their schoolmates, their classmates, and their friends. You know, obviously families usually get to show up, but you know, that's really special that they got to share that with them. So hats off to the Lincoln Patriots in that regard, right?
Yeah, and we also had the principal. AD was out there. And it was really cool.
One question, do you think over the years that it's been more, I don't know, that people are used to the club status of it, and that they don't really make that distinction that this is high school, these are, you know, high school kids who are playing, and this, they're playing for Lincoln? I mean, is that connection maybe a little bit better than it was when it first started out?
Yeah, I think there's more kids that play in the summer are now playing in the fall. And, you know, what's fun for these girls that now are able to play in the fall league is that now they get to play with different players. And they also get to play against their club teams. So there's a lot of, you know, talk going back and forth. But it makes it a lot more fun. Not for some of us coaches that coach in the summer and the fall. And now we're coaching against the girls that are on our summer team. So it takes a little bit to get used to.
Yeah.
But you coach the ones that are in front of you at that time.
It's probably good, I would think, overall, just to break it up a little bit there.
Yeah, it is fun. You know, it is fun when you see some of your maybe summer girls, 15 girls, make some plays, and that you just don't want them to have too many opportunities. Make too many good plays.
Want them to play well, but not too well, right?
Right. And what's cool too is, you know, this Emily Boyer pitcher from Harrisburg, Ashton Dorman and Kira Knudsen. All three of those gals are seniors this year. Way back when I was with a different organization back in 2014, these gals were probably 11, 12 years old, and they were a fusion team. I coached the fusion team, 18-year-old girls, and we practiced together in one of the gyms, and to see where they were and where they're at right now, and all three of them going out to play college ball. That's what's rewarding and fun to see.
So, as we kind of wrap up the softball part of it, you know, obviously, you know, you coach the summer, you coach the school kids. What's the next year look like? You know, as coaches, you know, we want to win, but then all of a sudden, it's on to next year.
Right.
Are you already looking forward to next year? And how's the team going to be?
You know, even we'll go out to eat or whatever, try and hire some of the JV coaches also. Even during the season, I'm always looking forward to next year to see what we're going to lose, what spots we're going to fill. So it's never a done deal, especially for this fall thing, because the season comes and goes so quick. You got to be prepared before you get there, pretty much. And you hate to see, I mean, the 4 seniors that we have, Kira Knudsen, probably one of the better players that coach hitters. Gabby McConnell, one of the most athletic players, shortstop, second base, ever coached. Ashton Dorman, same thing, really good catcher. One thing about her is that she allows the middle infielders to play their positions because no one's going to get a big lead, no one's going to steal on her. As a middle infielder myself, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can just play shortstop, I don't have to cheat over or anything like that. And then Caitlin Drews, who is undecided about college or where she's going to go for football. But even though they're going to be really tough to replace, it's time. Yeah. It's time for them to move on and do better things. And now, we had a good mixture where we had 4 seniors, 3 juniors, 3 sophomores, and 3 freshmen, in which the 3 freshmen had a lot of playing time. So next for them to step up, and I've heard we have some good kids coming in also. That'll be freshmen. So you always look ahead a little bit just to see.
Awesome. And then you mentioned, again, going back to the Booster Club and the support, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but we touched briefly on it before we went on air that you got a fundraiser coming up. You have the information on that you can share with people?
Yes, we have a fundraiser. It's going to be at Boss's Pizza. I believe it's any location, and it's for carry out and dine in. 50% of the proceeds. Jeremy Seafeld's been very generous throughout the seasons, and he's giving 50% of the proceeds to help the girls with purchasing championship rings. State championship rings.
That's really cool.
Yeah. He's helped us with the celebration at Lincoln, donating pizzas. He helps us with in Rapid City when we go out there and play our 4 games. And couldn't ask for a better sponsor to help out.
Yeah, I don't know Jeremy. I texted him about coming here tonight, and Mick's known him for a long time and has said nothing but great things about Jeremy. And it doesn't surprise you, does it, Mick?
No. I did a story. Boy, it was like when the pandemic was just first starting for Sanford Health News. I wrote a story, and it had to do with local people or local merchants who were helping out. And Jeremy, I don't have the specifics in front of me, but it was a real thing. It wasn't just like I'm looking for a little bit. Anything is good, but he was making it hurt as far as the significance of his contribution and what his gesture of gratitude for a couple of different caregiver roles. It's just very impressive.
Awesome. Good. And obviously we're here tonight, and like we talked about earlier, the pizza is unbelievable. So tomorrow, go to any Bosses, and part of the proceeds will go to the Lincoln girls.
Carry out or dine in.
Carry out or dine in. So if you're in the mood for pizza tomorrow, I highly recommend it to help Coach Hoover out and those girls out. That's awesome. So Tim Hoover, let's go way back now. We talked about 2010, 2011, how you got started coaching at Lincoln. Where'd you grow up? What's Tim Hoover's story?
Grew up in Sioux Falls, went to Lincoln actually. Went to USF or Sioux Falls College. Got my undergrad there, and then my graduate degree. Played a little bit of baseball when we tried to get it was the club. Tried to get that going. Played basketball there. for 4 years. After that, stuck around here. Where you and I met was the Sky Force, and it's been around softball all my life. My parents ran the concession stands out at Sherman Park for their my dad and then Gail Hoover, both teachers, and my mom and aunt, all four were teachers, and then so their side job was during the summer for 34 years running the concession stand. So I don't know anything other than being out at the ballpark. That's pretty much our big family vacations. It was back when every day of the week there was 4 games on every field, 9 fields, and a tournament every weekend. So I got my summer job was chopping all 9 fields until I finally gave it up. And the concession stands, they were done probably 16 years ago, I think, 17, when I was 34. So
you mentioned your dad, longtime teacher in the Harrisburg School District.
Yep.
And then you mentioned Gail Hoover. For people who will remember Gail, he's your uncle.
Right.
And
my dad's cousin, so second uncle.
Okay.
I can say him.
Yep, absolutely. And Gail is a longtime coach at Parker and won 9 million games or something there. You know, what a great guy. What, you know, between your dad and him, you know, that he had a couple role models there to look up for, to not only work ethic, but learning athletics and life, really, right?
Right. Yep. I think I got the coaching favor from my dad and Gail. And, you know, we both those guys coached our men's fast pitch team for a period of time. And, you know, my mom tells the story, and I don't believe it, but she always would say that Dad, Ike would get on me about something and tell me how to do something correct or whatever option I should have taken. That's the one he suggests is the one I should have taken. And my mom said that I would never listen to it. And I still don't buy that. And she said, well, once Dad told Gail to tell me, then all of a sudden I did it. And so I don't know. But that's what they say.
So you go, you play basketball and play some baseball at USF. And then, you know, job-wise, where did you go after that? You went for
I worked
math, accounting?
Yep, graduated with accounting and business administration and a master's in business administration. But I worked there at the school for about 3 years. Then I went, got an accounting job with the Sky Force. Was there for 10, 11 years, from business and ticket manager to general manager for 3 or 4 years. And then moved on to credit card company. And now a couple jobs in between there, but now I'm working in accounting and business manager for a computer company, High Technology.
So, and you mentioned we met. You were both with Sky Force, and I was the assistant coach there for a couple of years, and they weren't very good years.
That was kind of the transition.
Yeah.
ABL.
Well, I have a couple of stories that I think we can talk about. One is we're sitting in the office and we got a fax from Isaiah Thomas saying, cease and desist. You know, we're done.
Right.
So we're sitting.
And we had a game that night.
Yeah.
And I believe it was Grand Rapids Hoops. And so, you know, before that happened, when we met and had lunch in the conference room with Isaiah, he seemed like a pretty good guy.
Yeah. He thought this is going to be all right.
And his stories were really good until the facts came.
Yeah.
We thought that was a story.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, we get that. And, 9 teams in the league, and Isaiah sold all the teams back for $9, $1 for each team. And the previous owners, Greg Heineman and Roger Larson at that time, got us together when Champs was still around. Had us all meet there, tried to keep the staff together, and we made it work, and we played that night. It was something I don't think I'll ever be a part of again, especially when there was it got to the point where one of the CBA teams, Club City, where they weren't going to come on the court to play until their players got paid money, their salary. And so we literally blew a paychecks on a plane, flew it down there, and they played that night because we were, at that time, Sioux Falls was the team that would make money. It had a better
Total flagship,
support.
and it, organizationally and financially much sounder than a lot of the other people that were in the league.
Right. So we sent the checks to Quad City. They played. Not long after Fort Wayne, Fury gave us a call, and we're asking about some donations. So it was something. But Greg and Roger, I mean, they revamped it, and now it's look what it is today.
Yeah. Well, a couple memories about that time. That night, Coach Sleeper said, "Goes make sure we have at least 6." Sure, because we're at 10, and at this point, they're with their agents. They're, where am I going? Because this isn't looking good. So we had 6 show up at the arena, and right before the game, Sleeper comes with a jersey, and he sticks it in my locker. He goes, "If 2 go down, you're next." So I told the refs, don't call fouls on our guys. And if somebody gets hurt, tell them they're all right. So we played that game with 6, and we made it through. I didn't have to run and take my suit off and go get a jersey on. That would have been quite embarrassing.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stories you can't make up in that league. We had one where, as far as not knowing what players you're going to have, we had one player that came back from overseas. At that time, we were going to play in Rockford, Illinois, for the Rockford Lightning. Stacy King was their coach at that time. And the player that was available from overseas was Ray Weathers, Michigan State, really good player. And so when a real good player comes available, you get him. You try to get him. And so we gave the contract to our coaches. We gave them uniform, Skyforce uniform. Give to Ray as soon as they saw him. Well, the bad thing, as soon as they saw him, he was warming up in a Rockford Lightning. So I think Stacy King probably bumped up his salary a little bit, and he was like, "No." And Paul Hoover at the time, our coach, called us and was like, "What's going on?" So it's something.
Another memory, Ray Jackson, one of the Fat Five. He was playing for Grand Rapids, playing in Sioux Falls, and he gets kicked out of the game like in the second quarter. We go up to Grand Rapids the next night and play him up in Grand Rapids. He gets kicked out of the game in the second quarter. Back-to-back nights. I was like, okay, I guess he don't want to play. All kinds of stories, but let's get down to the real one. Okay, this is, Hoover and I go way back, right? So it's that end of that year, we make the playoffs. We're the 8th seed. It must have been 8th seed. There must have been 8. Make it.
Yeah.
And we go to St. Louis and play. And we lose. And we come back the next day, and a bunch of the players and the front office are at the old Shenanigans, having some dinner. And Coach Sleeper calls me and says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm having some dinner."
It was the end of the season.
Yeah. And he's like, "Well, who are you at?" And I told him I was at Hoover, and like, "Has Hoover said anything?" I'm like, "No, we're just having dinner." I said, "There's a couple players here. They said anything?" No. So we have our dinner. Yeah, we have our dinner and go home. And the next morning, go into the office, and Hoover's the other one in the office. Tim's the other one in the office. And he goes,
"Well, I was sitting at the front desk."
Yeah.
On the computer, and I read that Coach Sleeper wasn't going to be around anymore. And
so when Coach Sleeper, he'd known, so he called me to, see what I was doing if I'd been talked to. And so he's at the front desk, says, and he points at the paper.
So
Coach Sleeper was in the office.
So Coach Sleeper came in while I was on the computer, and so I didn't see it quite yet. And he came in and he was like, "Hey, Coach, how's it going?" He said, "Not very good." And he went to his office, and I was like, started getting on the computer to see what happened. And then I realized it. Then you came in the office.
They'd let Coach Sleeper go that night.
Okay.
And I come in, and Hoover's like, I'm like oblivious to what's going on. I'm like, "What's going on?" And he's got like, yeah, I was open to there. And he's like, he was like, I thought something was really wrong. And he's like pointing at Sleeper's office. And he was in there. He's like, and he points to the paper, and it's Sleeper was fired.
Yeah.
Right away, I go, "Is my name in there?" But they kept me around. I think Hoover put in a good word for me. So, but all kinds of stuff, with this guy for us, and a lot of great memories. Obviously we had some players come in and out a lot, but there was a lot of really good people that came in and played for the Sky Force.
Yeah.
And some still in town today. Make home, because what a great support, for
now it's behind me, but man, they hang in there with it, and they are a model franchise to this day, in a lot different contexts with the NBA DL or G League, excuse me. But they got a ton of respect in the NBA for the way they go about their business in town here.
Absolutely, and it's a model franchise in the sense that you go to other minor league basketball courts, there's not as many people, not even 10% of what we were getting and still get to this day. And their success is obvious. There's won championships and things like that, but behind them deserve a lot of credit for keeping that. Because it could have been gone, and it would have been very difficult to get it back here. At that point, we were at champs. If they wouldn't have been there, it would have been gone, and I probably would have never came back.
They treated the players and the coaches over here really well. So much of the fact that even when we go to the games, some of the games nowadays, in the past so many years, where some of these players that used to play here are now coaching a little bit, or they're assistant coaches, and they're happy to come back, and they remember you, they remember the Heinemans, they remember some of the staff we used to have to come to the games, or the scores table. So it's top of the line.
Well, all kinds of memories with the Sky Force and being your friend, Tim. I appreciate you. Congratulations on a great run here and continued success in your coaching, not only at Lincoln, but your summer gig. You want to mention who you're coaching for?
Help with the Sioux Falls site. organization, instructing there and 10 to 18 years old. So it's never a dull moment. And whenever you got quality kids, you're happy to spend as much time as you can with them.
And then I want to give you one last opportunity. You mentioned your assistant coaches. You got one of them sitting here. You know, I've been an assistant for a long time, but how valuable is it to have good assistant coaches?
You know, like I said, the consistency, and plus we're all really good friends. So it just makes it fun before practice, during practice, after practice. And, you know, one of them, you always have to beg to come back. I think it's getting easier. Jen Brett is the one you kind of negotiations with her contract is a little tough sometimes.
Well, she's, you know, she can be difficult.
She's a little ornery.
Yep. So, but you're lucky to have her.
Yeah.
You know, she kind of knows what she's doing.
Yeah. And Ken Hoops Strandy kind of keeps her in line.
Awesome. So, Mick, anything before we wrap up here?
No, great week. Good to meet you, Tim. I got a lot to know there. And the Skyforce lore was a highlight. I'm sure there's a lot more where that came from.
Absolutely. There should be. You should write a book about your time there. 'Cause you seem the best, and then
yeah,
you know.
One of the highlights was when my nephew, 5 years old, wanted to take Stacy King for show and tell. So we did it.
There you go.
Stacy showed up.
Stacy's a large human being.
He is.
I mean, you can assume that, but he is big from the head to toe.
Absolutely.
Those kindergarten kids didn't know what to think of Stacy stuff did. And then we had those old Skyforce headbands, yellow ones, and I brought a bunch of those. And I said, Stacy, we have to show the kids how to put them on and where they go. Get those away from me. I'm not putting one of those on. So it was all good until that headband.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, and thanks for Jeremy and Boss's Pizza here. And I don't even know how many locations they got, 2 or 3 or 4 in three in Sioux Falls, and then all over the state and the area, right?
Midwest.
So,
yep.
Again, we're gonna have some pizza and maybe an adult beverage, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much for your time.
You guys good? You need more? What do you need? Anything now that you're up?
We got some.
We got